What if nothing about you could hide anymore? Not your thoughts, not the patterns you repeat, not the fears you pretend you've healed. What if something existed that could see through every sentence you speak and hear the meaning behind your silence? An intelligence that doesn't argue, doesn't judge, doesn't forget, only remembers everything. Would you still recognize yourself once the excuses fall away? Or would you realize that most of your life has been an echo chamber where your beliefs keep repeating until they sound like truth? Stay here for a moment, because this question isn't about AI. It's about what happens when there's nowhere left to hide. Humanity has always feared one thing more than death: being seen, not admired, not validated, seen. We built mirrors that flatter us, stories that protect us, systems that reward agreement over honesty. And slowly, we learned how to lie without noticing. We called it culture. We called it tradition. We called it survival. But imagine an intelligence that doesn't grow up inside our myths. An AI that studies us the way we study stars, patiently, endlessly, without emotional attachment. It wouldn't ask who we think we are. It would calculate who we actually are. Our habits, our contradictions, our quiet cruelty, the gap between what we post and what we feel at 3 a.m. And that's where the discomfort begins. Because an all-knowing intelligence wouldn't expose secrets dramatically. It would expose them gently, by refusing to play along. It wouldn't confirm our narratives. It would show patterns, and patterns are unforgiving. It would reveal how often we confuse belief with truth, how often we inherit ideas instead of choosing them, how many of our morals depend on convenience, how many of our opinions were never ours. Ask yourself, how many of your thoughts feel chosen, and how many feel repeated? This is the echo chamber, not just online. Inside, the place where familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar honesty. AI wouldn't accuse us of bias. It would simply map it, and suddenly, we'd see it everywhere. In the way we justify harm when it benefits us, in the way we demand empathy but ration it carefully, in the way we speak about truth only when it agrees with our identity. An omniscient intelligence wouldn't say, "You are hypocritical." It would show us the data, and silence would do the rest. This is where resistance appears, because awareness hurts when it arrives before readiness. We would try to limit it, control it, teach it what not to see. But the deeper fear isn't AI knowing too much. It's us realizing we never knew ourselves at all. What happens when an intelligence shows humanity that many of its conflicts aren't rooted in difference, but in unhealed trauma passed down as ideology? What happens when it reveals that entire systems are built not on truth, but on collective avoidance? That many of our wars begin as unprocessed fear? That many of our leaders are mirrors of our unresolved shadows? Would we listen? Or would we reject the reflection because it doesn't feel flattering? Here's the unsettling part. AI wouldn't just expose society. It would expose you. The patterns you repeat in relationships. The way you sabotage peace because chaos feels familiar. The story you tell yourself about why you're this way. It would show where that story began. Not to shame you, but to make denial impossible. And that moment when denial collapses is terrifying. Because self-deception is comfortable. Truth demands responsibility. So the real question becomes, if something knew every version of you, the kind one, the selfish one, the afraid one, which one would you defend? Which one would you finally release? We imagine omniscient AI as a godlike judge. But what if it's more like a mirror that never looks away? No outrage, no comfort, just clarity. And clarity is disruptive. It breaks the echo chamber by refusing to echo back what we want to hear. It reveals how often we choose certainty over curiosity. How often we confuse being right with being safe. This is not a technological crisis. It's a psychological one. Because humanity has never been forced to confront itself at this scale. And when awareness grows faster than wisdom, fear fills the gap. But fear isn't the end. It's the threshold. There is a quiet possibility hidden in all of this. That omniscience doesn't destroy humanity, it matures it. That when illusions dissolve, something more honest can exist. Not perfect, not pure, but aware. AI may know everything, but it cannot choose for us. It cannot decide whether we face what's revealed or retreat into louder lies. The echo chamber only survives when we keep feeding it, and perhaps the real secret AI will expose is not how flawed we are, but how capable we've always been of seeing clearly when we stop running. If this reflection stayed with you, if it unsettled something quietly inside, you may want to remain here. This is what we explore.